All right, everybody, welcome back to the KS Moto Cafe. Today's a special one here. We got our friend here, Stinky, who's gonna actually provide a little bit of insight on riding with a friend. You got any tips to add?
Yeah, we want to go as big as possible, and that's why we're both going to stick right together, side by each, and we're going to occupy position left, not center, and position right, just depending on the traffic of where we get to, and slow and steady, and we're going to keep it nice and tight, eyes on each other.
How many years of experience do you have?
Plus of 15.
15 years? And what are you riding here?
I am riding a 2019 Harley Road Glide, most importantly, purchased at Badlands Harley Davidson Medicine Hat.
Right on, man. All right, so let's warm up the bikes and then we'll head on forward. Okay? All right, so as I warm up my bike, Stinky here on my right is going to be leading the charge, and then I'll be following closely, trying to keep up with him with my Sportster Iron 883. Now, the whole concept there is, you may have watched a video about whether or not a new rider should do group rides, and I recommended that you do not unless you go for a ride with a friend that you know. And Stinky here, whose actually first name is Chris, but that's his nickname, he's actually the one that helped me pick up my motorcycle from the Barnes Harley Davidson dealership, and he's a very safe rider. And because of that, I wanted to showcase his riding skills with everybody with his permission to be on camera, so he also can be famous. Now, the concept of group ride or partner riding is that everyone has their own riding position. So it all starts out with the leader, which right now Chris is the leader of this group, and he has taken on position number 1. For me, I'm on rider position number 3, where if something does happen, I at least have an exit path between myself and Chris up there. Now, my job as the follower is to make sure that I keep my distance from Chris, but not so far away from actually losing him in traffic. Because last thing you want is other cars interrupting our ride. Now, what you will see is when we get to a full stop, you'll notice that I actually invade his lane where I pull up next to him. And that's up to you if you want to do it. I've been on rides where some people don't like it, so you stay a couple feet behind the rider, and some people don't mind if you come right close to them. So it's just one of those things that you just kind of either ask ahead of time before you go for a ride, or you try it out and try to have a read on their body language, whether they like it or not. So here you'll see when we get to the stop sign, I will be pulling right up next to him, but I will obviously let him go first. So depending on who you ride with and who you're comfortable riding with, it actually can be a fun time. And for me, I like riding with Chris here because he's a really safe rider. He doesn't go above and beyond my capability as a rider, and he also stays within the rules of riding. So as you can see here, we're at a stop, and I will pull right up next to him. Lucky for Chris, he's got the Road Glide that has speakers. I'm just gonna close the visor. It's hard to say I'm not with them, but yeah, so I let him go forward, and then after that I quickly go behind them, and we're back to our own riding positions, and we continue on riding forward. So the distance that you should put between rider in front of you to yourself is no different than if there was a car in front of you, right? So as long as you keep your own distance and you ride your own ride, which is extremely important, because there are certain situations when you're both cornering or you're both speeding up, slowing down, your perception of obstacle or turns ahead will be slightly different. Obviously, the person in front of you or in the lead will have more time to react to a certain obstacle or a certain event. And if you're just going off the cues of the rider in front of you, you're gonna lose more of that reaction time. So that's quite important. You as a rider, you still have to be very perceptive on what's happening all around you. That includes what's happening in front of the group. So right now there's another rider in front of us that's not part of this group, but if Chris decides to join that person's ride and move into position number 3, then I will then naturally go into position number 1, so we're more staggered. But right now we're not doing it because we don't know this guy. He does have a cool adventure bike though. You will also notice that sometimes when we're doing turns or slowing down, you'll see Chris putting up his hands, and those are riders' hand signals. You don't have to do them. I asked if he does it just for me, and he said that this is what he does naturally. I'm guessing it's because the turn signals on the motorcycles are pretty tiny, sometimes hard to see by a car. So he's making his intentions more obvious on whether or not he's turning left or turning right. And again, that just shows a little bit more character of Chris's style of riding, which is a lot safer than what I usually do. So when you're in a staggered formation here, let's say something drastic happens in front of Chris where he needs to stop right away, then I at least have my own space in my lane position 3 where I can either swerve right or have enough distance to stop before I hit whatever is in front of us. And same goes with the cars or vehicles behind me. If we had another rider, he or she will obviously be in lane position 1 to my left, or if it's a car, he or she also can swerve away from me because there's just that much more space to go away from. The origin of this stagger riding, I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but I believe it's a proven concept because it's been like this forever, and it's actually in your motorcycle safety foundation manual of how to ride in groups. So now we're about to hit the highway, and you're going to see changes of lane positioning from Chris based on how the roads are mapped out, and for us to be more defensive riders. So eventually he's going to go into the left faster lane because he's looking at his mirrors. He's timing it right now. There he goes. I got the cue, I'm going in. And then we'll see if it changes the positions, which he is doing right now. So now he's in lane position 3, and I have changed myself to lane position 1, so we're still staggered. But the reason why he's in lane position 3 is to protect any vehicle trying to cut us off from the other lane. If you were riding alone, then I would be riding in lane position 3 as well to protect that lane. But yeah, it's simple as that. Now, if he was a more aggressive rider and starts taking off, I would not be able to catch up with him. But Chris is a gentleman and he's not going to leave me in the dust. So for those who are watching this and are experts at riding, if you got any advice or comments you wanted to make about our group ride here, make a comment below and be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. Like always, ride safe, ride prepared, ride on. Peace.